And they have this whole conversation and a hug, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? You could be running away right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Karen here. So today I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Some of my videos have been like travel vlogs or like useful things. So with the coronavirus going on, like I've mentioned before, I have a lot of free time, so I've been watching a lot of Netflix. And one of the shows that I most recently watched is Itaewon Class. It's pretty big in Korea right now, so I thought that I would do a review about it. I've never done like a TV show or movie or book review before, so I don't know, I guess if you want to just know my opinions on this drama, keep watching. Disclaimer, there are going to be spoilers. I finished watching the show and I'm going to talk about potentially scenes at the end of the show. So if you are watching it and you haven't gotten there yet, if you plan to watch the show, maybe stop watching this. If you have finished it, or if you have no plans of watching it, and in that case I don't know why you're here, but continue watching, I suppose. Also, I did recently watch a video on YouTube of someone else's analysis of the show. I can't remember who, but I can try to find that video and I'll link that below. So some of my thoughts in this might be similar to that, because they made a lot of really good points, but this is still my own opinion of the drama. So yeah. First, some general thoughts. Overall, I really liked this drama. I thought it was definitely really well done and different than a lot of other dramas I've seen, especially recently. It has a very like real quality to it, I think, but it's still like dramatic, very dramatic. Yeah, so well, that is hot.
Very hot.
I really enjoyed it. Thought it was a really good drama. For those of you who don't know the drama and are still watching this video, I'm going to just do a quick summary as quick as I can. Basically, it's called Itaewon Class, and it's set mostly in the neighborhood of Seoul called Itaewon, centered around this main character, Park Se-ri, and he opens a pub in Itaewon pretty much for the purpose of revenge, kind of, and to get back at this really big company that the director, the CEO of that company, like ruined his life, his father's life, literally. And so he has this big elaborate plan to be better than him. So it's about kind of that struggle, that dynamic, but in the pub we are introduced to a lot of side characters that become his family. Yeah, that's kind of what it's about, I guess. So I'm gonna talk about some strong points that I think, some personal not issues I have with the show, just certain things I didn't really like, and then I'm gonna talk about like the social impact, which I think was like the strongest point. One of the things that I think the show did really, really well is the characterization. I think all of the characters were so well thought out, and they were all so unique and believable too. And I think the actors did a phenomenal job. Honestly, like all of them deserve awards, like A+. I think especially Se-ri, the main character, he's a very unique kid. Like growing up, we kind of learned that he's kind of socially awkward and like doesn't really have friends, but he doesn't ever really seem bothered. He just has like this like calmness to him. Yeah, and I think just his relationship with all of the characters in different ways are really strong. With his pub family, like his loyalty to them, I think is just one of his best points. And like he's like, I don't care that you're not the best cook. Like, you're part of this family. I don't care that your family is the one that destroyed me. Like, if you want to stay here, stay here. You're my family. Like, he's trustworthy, but I think he's a really good main character, and we explore a lot of his motivations and kind of like inner demons. So yeah, I think but not even just Zoe, I think all of them, especially like the antagonists in the story, I think were done really well, and especially the main Sang Dae-hee, such a good villain, honestly. And that's actually like one of my favorite things about this drama is I really hate in movies or TV shows when the antagonist is supposed to like be pitied by the audience at the end, like, or when they're forgiven. So like if they've done a lot of awful things and then like you find out stuff about them and then you're like, oh, okay, like I saw your motivations, and then like the main character forgives them and you're like, no. So I don't know, I really, like, I know forgiveness is good and I get it, but I like the fact that Serugi didn't forgive him. Even after everything, like, he won, he got what he needed, like, he was down on his knees, like, begging him, like, don't take my company, and Serugi's like, well, it's a good business deal, I'm not gonna forgive you, bye. And I was like, thank God. Obviously, people are more complex beings. It's not like, so to quote Harry Potter, you can't just separate people into good people and Death Eaters. I know the world's not that simple. Like, he's not just a bad character, a bad guy, but as a character, as an antagonist in a story, I didn't want to see him forgive. A really strong protagonist and a really strong antagonist, I think, made the story really compelling. But in addition to that, what I also think they did well is just all of the side characters were so strong too. I found myself so invested in like the side character storylines, especially the other people at the pub. Like, I want a side story, like I want a side drama just about them, each of them, because I love them. The characters kind of leads me into some of the points that I didn't really vibe with, I guess, in this drama, and that's kind of the romance aspect. I like romance in my K-dramas, and they're always very dramatic, and that's good. I'm fine with that. But for most of this drama, I found myself not really caring about the two female leads at all in their relationship with the main character. It's not, I couldn't figure out what it is. I just found them, they just both bothered me for different reasons. I felt like they were both selfish in different ways, but, which like we know, and I think that that's kind of the point, like they are both selfish. And I was like, I don't know, like I don't really care about this aspect, but that was just for me. I think in this story, I wasn't as drawn to the romance of it. I liked a lot more the other plots. And so like those scenes, I was like, This is like this is an example that's just a minor scene that makes me think about it. Near the end, when Iso is kidnapped, and when he comes to save her, and they start running, right? And they're running, and they're doing fine, and then he stops. He stops, and he's like, wait, I need to tell you, I like you. And they have this whole conversation and a hug, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? You could be running away right now. I know that's just like, this is a feature of a lot of like romance stuff where the main characters are just like, now's the time, and it's like, now it's definitely not the time. After the scene, when everything is solved, she's in the hospital, like there's no mention of the other characters that were involved in this incident that got injured. Like, whereas I'm assuming that like off camera they obviously check on them, but I just was like, and I get why they focus on mostly just Seroy and Iso, but I was like, Gunsu got stabbed in the leg because she abandoned him, and he's like, well, I'm still going to fight. He got stabbed, and the other guy, Seungkwan, like fought all of the mob people and was like prepared to die, and like I'm assuming that there's a thank you somewhere, but we don't see it, and I would kind of like to see it because these characters just like risk their lives. Anyways, the romance aspect kind of fell short for me, but that was just a minor thing. That doesn't mean that I didn't like those characters. I think Iso she's a cool character. I like her actually a lot. But it did take me a while to get to that point. And another personal gripe I guess I have, I just felt like some of the scenes dragged a bit because the episodes were quite long. I found myself after maybe like 20 minutes just kind of my mind starting to wander. I would like go on my phone and then be like, oh crap, I need to read the subtitles, and then I missed stuff. But just, I don't know, some of the scenes just felt too drawn out. I can't think of actually any scenes in particular that did that. Probably some of the romance ones. Alright, so now we're going to talk about my favorite part, the social impacts, right? And this I think is the best aspect of Itaewon Class. I think that it addressed a lot of social concerns and brought up topics that aren't really talked about in Korean dramas, and in society as well, I guess. So obviously some of them, like the aspect company culture, that is something that definitely is shown in a lot of K-dramas, but I think that this one did a really nice job of showing that dark side and showing an alternative. So like Seroi's corporation, IC, Itaewon Class, his whole thing when he builds it is like, kind of the whole emphasis on like business is about people, business is about trust, versus business is about money, business is about power. And I was like, yes, my man, like yes. And I think that that's just such an important thing for like everyone, not even just in Korea, just like business and corporation in general needs more humanity. Anyways, let me sip my lukewarm tea at that. So yeah, I really liked that piece of it. And then the other thing is really talking about like discrimination based on a lot of different things. So all of the characters in the pub, I mean, they have different, like Iso is she's a sociopath, I think. We got 2 ex-cons, and we got a trans woman and a black guy and a what's the word, illegitimate son of a rich guy. Like, I'm just like, then with Hyunhee, my girl. So I actually really like the actress who played Hyunhee, Lee Joo-young, I think her name is. She was in Weightlifting Fairy, Kim Bok-joo, and I really liked her in that drama. But I think she just did such a nice job with this. And I mean, the fact that there's a trans character in a K-drama is huge. Like, I'm not a trans person and I don't want to speak for trans people, but I felt like the portrayal was, like, I heard she did do research, and obviously she's not a trans actress, so like that would have been ideal, but I think that it was a very important point for representation, and it didn't feel like they were just throwing in characters of minority to be like, oh, here we go, and then like let's not have them impact the story at all. Like, no, they definitely, like, their storylines played a part and they were important. And just the whole scene at the cooking show where she gets outed, basically, that scene, I cried. I actually did cry in that scene when she was crying with Serui, and I just, another reason to love him. Like, he just like doesn't care. He's so supportive. He's like, you're my girl, I got you. I love their friendship, honestly. But yeah, I just felt like that scene was really raw. I'm like, wow, Korea, you really did this. Like, that's insane. Like, that's amazing. So yeah, Hyunhee. And then finally we have Tony's character. Tony, he's half African, half Korean, and this kind of his storyline, he's in such an interesting situation because he is a foreigner in some regards, but also like his dad is Korean, and you really see his struggle like for his identity, and he is like constantly saying like, no, I'm Korean, and they're all like, yeah, but like you're not really. And I just feel like this point really highlights like a lot of the like Korean attitude towards foreigners. And Korea's just, it's a very homogeneous country, and so people who don't look ethnically Korean are automatically assumed to be foreigners, and also within that they're automatically assumed to speak English. That's another thing. He doesn't speak English. He's from a French-speaking African country, but they just assume, oh, like he's foreign looking, therefore he knows English, so let's hire him to talk to English people. I'm like, oh my gosh, not everyone in the world. Anyways, but I thought that like having that scene, like those scenes in there, brought up things that might have made people uncomfortable and go like, oh, do we do this? And like showing scenes like where he isn't allowed into the club, and like discrimination that some foreigners do face. And so yeah, I thought that was really, really, really good and interesting. And again, for these last two, actually for all of those points, I can't personally speak to experiences, and I can't talk over those minorities. So the social impact of the show really bringing up a lot of points that isn't talked about much in Korean dramas, and I think it can expose the audience. I don't know who the audience is of the show, but maybe some of these people don't know a lot of things about like LGBT people or like race issues, those sort of things. Anyways, love it, I love it. So my final thoughts on the show. When I was watching it, I think I didn't appreciate a lot of the things that I was saying now. When I watched the show, I definitely really liked it, but it wasn't one of those that I was like, oh, I finished the episode, oh my god, I have to watch the next one, I have to watch the next one. Like, for me, it was kind of slower, but then once I finished the show and once I analyzed it, I think I liked it so much more. But that's because I like shows with like good analysis and like social commentary, and like that's my kind of thing. So I think, yeah, it's one of those shows that makes you think. If you want to, you could watch a show and then move on, or you could think about it, and that'd be cool. And another thing is in calling it Itaewon Class, being set in Itaewon. So before coming to Korea, I'd heard of Itaewon. I'm like, oh, it's a place where foreigners are. And then when I first came here, I was like, okay, it's like whatever, it's fine. And I kind of distanced myself from it because in my mind, I'm in Korea to experience Korean culture. Why would I go to the place that has like a lot of foreigners? But now that I've been here longer, I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I am craving that kind of stuff. I'm craving like Middle Eastern food or like Mexican food or some American food that's not a burger. But I think one of the things the show really stresses and like points out about Itaewon is like it's a place where people of differences can come together. You see that in the types of characters that are there in the show. And I think this actually might be something, what I'm saying might actually have been taken from the other video that I watched, but I agree with the sentiment, so I'm going to say it anyways, that kind of Itaewon represents like an open-minded place and like for people to be themselves. And I think that that's really beautiful. Don't know how accurate it is all the time. That kind of paints like a perfect picture of Itaewon, and like that's not the case. Not everyone there is accepting. Not everyone there is perfect, but like that's normal. But the show did kind of help me see Itaewon in a different light again, so maybe I'll go back there soon. I don't know. So I've been talking for like 30 minutes. Also, this tea is cold now. It was, remember at the beginning, it was like burning my mouth. Now it's like room temperature. Alright, so hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see maybe more like drama reviews or like book reviews, review of anything, I don't know, music, things, I could do that. I enjoy just talking at things because no one can interrupt me. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Comment what you want below, you know, the same things always. And yeah, I hope everyone is staying safe, everyone is social distancing, washing your hands, you know. This is not a fun time, and I know that where I am, it's nowhere near as bad as America, but no matter where you are, where you're watching this, be safe, be smart, and see you later. Bye.